Hi friends, welcome back to What a Witch Knows. I'm Erin. I'm a writer, an intuitive channel, and a witch. And today I'm back with the seventh and final video in my series, 7 Types of Intuition. So this one is intuition about creativity. So if you're interested in this topic, check out the other 6 videos in this playlist and definitely subscribe to my channel so you can be alerted when I upload new content. So intuition about creativity, this is a big one. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video. This is big in particular for us, quote unquote, creative types, but creativity is something that everyone works with. Anytime you're bringing something new and original and unique into the world, something that has your unique energy signature on it. So that can be as simple as writing an email, or it can be as big as building a house or growing a business. So for me, I'm a writer. That's my profession. So a lot of the times, I have clients that are assigning me stories. So I write about what they want me to write about. But other times I'm in a position where I need to pitch an idea for a story to a news outlet that I may or may not have worked with before. So that's where the creativity element comes in. And a question I get a lot is, how do you know what to write about? Like, where do these ideas come from? So intuition really has a lot to do with that. And it can really help you when you're trying to decide where you want to direct your creative energy. So the first thing I'd say is that the idea keeps coming up and it won't leave you alone. Now, for me, that doesn't mean that I have one big aha moment. Usually what happens is it starts as a little bit more soft and subtle. So you get the first sort of hint of an idea that's not fully formed. I think of this as a glimmer. And I've heard of people use the term glimmer as the opposite of a trigger. So the feeling that you have around it is really exciting. It feels almost euphoric. It feels really passionate. That's how you know that this is an idea that could potentially really have legs, but it's still it's like an infant. Like I need to let it expand and grow. So at that point, I usually just kind of put it on the back burner of my mind and let it percolate for a bit. And then usually what will happen is it will start to come up again and again. And sometimes there will be signs and synchronicities that pop up. So, I find an article online that gives me a new perspective on a way to approach the idea, or a friend in conversation brings up that they've had an experience with something that aligns with the idea, and the idea starts to sort of snowball. It will continue to pop up, only when it does keep popping up, it will be louder and the idea will have more depth to it. So it will feel more fleshed out and there will be more action elements associated with it. So it's okay. Initially, I had this one idea for a story. Now I have an idea for a title. Now I have an idea for the kind of magazine where I would want to pitch the story. Now I have an idea of a specific person that I want to interview for the story. I have described it before as literally like the dawn. So sometimes when you hear people talk about an idea, they say it just dawned on me. So that's not a process that happens all at once, right? Like you're in the darkness and then you notice a little glimmer of light in the sky, and then you start to notice the objects around you, and then it starts to get lighter and lighter, but in a very sort of slow and gradual way. So intuition about creativity is very similar, but the key element here is that I'm not forcing any of this. This is a point of the process where you have to be sort of more in a feminine, receptive energy and just let those ideas come through you or to you from spirit in sort of a natural and organic way. And oftentimes that can mean doing nothing and just sitting back and waiting for more information to come through, or waiting for another sign or synchronicity to pop up. And that can be difficult, because the masculine parts of ourselves are going to want to jump in and control the process, but we have to ask them to, kind of step aside and take a back seat until the idea is more fully formed. And then the masculine side of us can jump back in when we're in the phase when we're actually building the idea and bringing it into reality. So writer Elizabeth Gilbert has a really unique way of talking about this in her book, Big Magic, which I really recommend you read. I'll drop a link in the description below. She considers these ideas to be actually conscious and alive and actively searching for partners to help bring them into reality. And you can say yes or no to the partnership, but you can't really control a lot about the process in the beginning. Things like timing, or how big this project is going to be, or how much work it's going to take. Those are all things that we oftentimes have to be willing to release control around, especially in the beginning stages. And that can feel really scary, especially when you get to that phase where the dawn is getting brighter, the idea is getting more fleshed out, and you start to realize, oh shit, like this is going to be a big commitment. Like I'm going to need to rearrange a bunch of things in my life to make this work. You start to have fears come up, like I'm not going to have enough time, I'm not going to have enough money, or I'm going to get it wrong, or I'm going to look stupid. But those are all messages that are linked to anxiety, not intuition. And if you want more detail on the difference, I will drop a link to my video below, Anxiety or Intuition, 7 tips to tell the difference. And definitely check that out because they can be really difficult to tell apart when you're talking about creativity. Just know that the freak out phase will eventually pass. So just keep that in mind. You can kind of sit with those fears and allow them to be there, but ask them to take a back seat so they're not driving the car. You're the one driving the car. And I think for me, the biggest motivator that helps me get over fears like that is if I did say no to this idea, there's a chance that it could never come into reality. And that can be a tough pill to swallow, especially if it's something you feel really excited and passionate about. There are times when you will feel like literally no one else in the world will do this if I don't do it. Like your name is on it. So it's kind of on me. And then there's other times when the motivating factor is the opposite. So if I don't do it, somebody else will do it. And that can be sometimes, it can be linked to ego and competitiveness. So just be careful with that one. But you can, use it as a motivator to get over fears. So also in her book, Big Magic, Elizabeth Gilbert actually writes about this idea for a book that kept coming up for her, but she said no to the universe on it because she had just too much going on in her life at that point. And come to find out, another famous writer literally wrote almost exactly the same book after she had declined the idea. So that goes back to the concept that these ideas aren't just ideas, they're conscious and they're linked to spirit and they want to work with you, but are you going to say yes to it? We all have free will. Another thing that can be really scary is trusting yourself and having that confidence to know that this is really something that is worth time and worth energy and worth money, because if you don't have that confidence and believe in the idea, no one else will. So oftentimes the universe is asking you to move forward on these projects without having all the answers, without knowing where it's going to end up or how it's going to land with people or how you're going to find the time or the money. But usually what spirit will show you is the next 1 or 2 steps in that moment that you need to take. And then if you can just make those moves when you feel guided and trust that the next 1 or 2 moves will show up for you in real time. When we tune into intuition, tune into spirit, we have all the resources we need, even when we can't see them. So we can move with that confidence. And I often think about the way like a fox moves in the forest. A fox is one of my spirit animals. I just think they're really beautiful creatures. And I love that sense of pure confidence and trust that they carry in themselves, in their body, and how they move through the world. They're getting all that confidence from inside themselves, not from the outside world. It's scary. It's not the way we've been conditioned to work. And this process is very new for me. I'm really trying to nurture it in myself at the moment. And, right now I'm having a big idea that I currently am in the freak out phase. But what's helpful is that I've been there before. I know that the fears will pass. And I'm just keeping my motivating factors in mind and just trying to be receptive right now, which can be tricky. But eventually I know that if I trust, those fears will turn into ambition and drive. And that's when the masculine part of myself will kick in later to help me actually ground the project into reality. So all of this is part of a process, and it's helpful to look at it that way. So it's really just working with both of those sides of us, feminine and masculine, and then just learning to trust yourself. So that's what I have for you today about intuition, about creativity. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back for you with more content very soon. Take care and blessed be.